All right. So thank you, everybody, for coming. As some of you know, I'm a preacher, and I will try to restrain myself. But I am really excited to be here with my colleagues, and I'm really excited to be taking what I think is a really significant step towards a discussion in the Michigan State Legislature about financial disclosure and greater transparency in government. For those of you in the media, let me just underscore that I think this is very important. Without downplaying any of the other things that we need to do, and there are other things that we need to do, one of the problems that weighs on my mind is the data that tells us that most voters instinctively aren't sure that we all aren't here to do our business, not the people's business. And the best way to reassure voters that we can think of is to show them where our major interests are. And so I've been working with my colleagues who are up here, and we are in this process. Now let me stress, this is not a finished product. We are introducing bills today, and I actually have props over there. We have a package of bills that actually have, by my count at this point, 62 co-sponsors. So we have a package that's actually got a majority of the House in support, and that's just the House part. So we also have senators up here because we're not done yet. I hope that this is not just going to be a bipartisan package, but it's also going to be a bicameral package. And there are active discussions with my colleagues in the Senate. Come on up, Jim. We're not that formal, and you got elected, and your name's on this thing. So, I just want to flag for everybody here who's here and how they just because this is a big deal. We've been working on this for a while, so I'm just going to say some of these people are going to be speaking, but my friend and boss Yusuf Rabi has been working on this with us since last session, and so has Bill Sowerby, and those two really have been working on leading the discussions that you have to have when you come up with some new idea in Lansing. So they've been working on this. My Republican colleagues who are here with me on this I thank them so much for really making this a bipartisan package. And every day that goes by, we're having more people engaging in this and more people thinking through the process and getting involved and being supportive. So Representative Avendoulis is here. Representative Marino, who's one of our co-sponsors, Representative Calley, of course, and Representative, what's his name? Filler, that's it. And Representative Huizenga. And as I already flagged, we've got some senators here, but thank you all. This is a representative sampling, but if you want to know who else is supporting this package, I got a whole lot of names and some bluebacks over there.
I want to first start with some thank yous. Thank you to everyone who's here today to participate in this. Thank you to Representative LaGrand for helping to spearhead this effort. One representative that is here as well that wasn't recognized earlier is Representative Jim Huizenga, who's also been supportive of this bill package. And of course, we have Senator Winnie Brinks and Senator Jeremy Moss, who's going to be speaking a little bit later. This bill package is one of the finest examples of bipartisanship in our legislature, I think, that we've had in a long time. There have been some great advances in bipartisanship during this 100th legislature, and you have a lot of folks that have been working on different bipartisan legislation, including one shining example of that, I think, is the work that Representative LaGrand has done with Representative Filler. They have one of the best working relationships across the aisle, I think, of any duo that I've ever seen. So LaGrand was joking earlier when he said Rep. What's his name, but because they work together really closely and they know each other really well on that issue. So there's a lot of great bipartisanship that's happening and a lot of effort underway, and this is just one of those shining examples. At the end of the day, this is about we work for you. We work for the people of the state of Michigan, and our job is to represent your interests. And for too long in our state, we've had a lack of transparency, and it's something that is basic to what the people of this state demand when it comes to their elected officials. We owe it to our people. We owe it to the people of the state of Michigan to let them know who we are, to let them know what our financial connections are. It is done in so many other states. 48 other states do something like this. We are one of the last states to not do this. And this is part of why the state of Michigan is continuously ranked close to the bottom when it comes to financial transparency in general. This is one of those pieces. This is one of those parts of why we are ranked so low consistently. So this is a great day because we've tried this effort in years past. As Representative LaGrand alluded to, many of these bills were introduced last session. So we are continuing that fight. We are continuing to push, and it is ripe right now. The time is right for us to get this across the finish line. The people of the state of Michigan deserve it. And one of the folks, speaking of transparency in general, that has been a consistent champion for transparency issues when he was a House member and now as a senator as well, is my colleague and friend and your next speaker here at the podium, Senator Jeremy Moss.
I've been hiding behind you, the whole time.
It was the big reveal.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Jeremy Moss, State Senator for Southern Oakland County. And I'm sure as many of you know about my work here, when somebody said there was going to be a government transparency press conference, I hope you had the visual of me sprinting across the Capitol lawn so that I can make it here on time and talk about the issues that are so important to every Michigander that depends on a government that's accountable to them. And so on the Senate side, we are going to continue to amplify this work. We have the same bills. We'll be rolling out our package soon to match up what the House is doing here today. I'm so honored that Senator Winnie Brinks is joining me on this effort. We are forming a bipartisan coalition of our own. I hear about the relationship or the friendship or the partnership between Representatives LaGrand and Filler. I think Senator McBroom and I can match that a little bit with some of the stuff that we've been doing, and obviously pulling in partners like Senator Brinks as well. We're here because we have a problem here in Michigan government through and through. There was a Center for Public Integrity study that went state by state and measured 13 functions within those state governments. And Michigan failed 10 of those categories. And as a result, we rank dead last in the nation in terms of accountability, ethics, and transparency. And some of those categories that we fail, where we're near last or last in these certain metrics, are public access to information, our political financing, legislative accountability, lobby disclosure, and, of course, ethics enforcement. And so a lot of that kind of runs a common theme of, do you know if your legislator is voting on something that's going to be personally enriching them? Do you know if your legislator poses a conflict of interest when they introduce legislation? And the answer in Michigan is you do not know that. And so what we're doing right here today is a big step to shine a light on the actions of government officials to make sure that you know when we go to work, we're working for you and we don't have these selfish self-interests that propel the legislative initiatives that we're moving forward. So many of us started this work last session. I really got to give a huge boost, credit, liftoff to Representative LaGrand. We moved our FOIA package, which still stands in the Senate, and we're promising to bring that to the finish line, which the House fortunately brought forward in a bipartisan way earlier this year. But Representative LaGrand said, all right, we're one of 2 states in the nation that don't allow the open records to be applied to the governor's office and state legislature. We're also one of 2 states in the nation that doesn't require legislators to disclose their finances. And so Representative LaGrand has been on this mission for 2 terms. We've done this last year. There were probably about 20 of us, maybe. Probably about 20 of us who signed the financial disclosure form last session and put it out publicly. Those are still available somewhere, I assume. And we're ready to do it again. And now he has absolutely built this bipartisan coalition to put this form in law so that all of us are compelled to make sure that we disclose our finances. I wish this was groundbreaking stuff. We are fighting to be the 49th state that does this. But that just goes to show how important this work does, or how important this work is, and what it will do for the citizens of Michigan to show that our legislators act in a good faith effort to put forward legislation that is meaningful and will help working families and doesn't enrich us as legislators. So I'm excited. I'm excited to take the lead on this on the Senate side, along with Senate partners, and we're excited to join and be hosted here in the House today on this effort. So Representative LaGrand, kudos to you, and we're ready to work with you.
Right on. So before I throw it open for questions, I want to make a couple points. There are 4 Republican authors to this package and 4 Democratic authors. We all have filled out the financial disclosure form, which tracks our bill package, and those will be available to the media and anyone who wants them. Those will be available after the press conference. The other point that I want to make out, and Senator Moss pointed this out, Senator Brinks and Senator Moss last session already filled out forms, and a number of us did. I have people filling out voluntarily complying with an at-yet non-existent law every day, so that's exciting. So I hope that as we continue these conversations, my colleagues will simply participate, and then they'll realize it's not that scary. Now, a really exciting sign of that is we have a majority of the members of the State House as co-sponsors to this legislation. So we have come a long way in a very short amount of time, and I don't think we've got that much farther to go.